Hello again. This week we have a 1960s Omega Geneve. The gold plating is looking a bit tired due to over polishing in the past, and the movement isn't performing great, with a high rate and low amplitude. Let's see if we can improve this a bit, shall we? Let's have a closer look. First removing the strap, then a look at the crystal. You can see the Omega logo in the middle. Hopefully with a polish the crystal will be reusable. Unfortunately, the dial and hands have some wear too. The case back is quite scratched, but with an interesting brushing pattern to it. With the case back off, you can see there are many previous watch repairers' marks. To get the movement out, we first remove the crown, and the automatic rotor, the case clamps, and the movement ring. Inverting the case lets the movement out. We put the crown back on to align the hands, remove the hands and secure them in a membrane box. The dial then can be removed, and taking a look on the back we can see an interesting clover pattern, possibly from a specific dial manufacturer. If you know anything about this particular pattern, let us know in the comments. Back to the movement, we remove the cover plate and then the date jumper and spring and quick set date from the cover plate. That allows the date wheel to be removed. From there, the hour wheel, cannon pinion, calendar wheel and intermediate wheel are removed. With the cannon pinion off, we can move to the back of the watch. Automatic works off and disassembled. With the mainspring let down, the balance assembly and pallet forks can be removed, along with the centre seconds pinion. With the bridge removed, we can see the most of the going tray, removing the third, fourth and escape wheels. Next, the ratchet wheels, the click and click spring and crown wheels are removed. The barrel bridge is removed, exposing the centre wheel and the going barrel itself. With the back of the watch complete, it is time to finish the dial side by removing the setting lever spring, minute wheel, intermediate wheel and date corrector, yoke and yoke spring, setting lever and retainer, leaving the crown, clutch and winding gear. The last thing to do before cleaning is to remove the mainspring from the going barrel. Here is the movement fully disassembled, and here it is after the pre-clean, ready for ultrasonic cleaning, excluding the balance and pallet forks that will be cleaned manually. Whilst the movement is being cleaned, let's focus on the case. Under inspection there was clearly a brushed finish in the past. The case has been over polished, leading to the brass showing through on the lugs. I have reapplied this brushing to try and blend in the polished lugs with the still marked gold plating. The case back is quite scratched up with some deep marks. I've just reapplied the brushing without a full polish, trying to retain the Omega logo and its sharp lines. The crystal was refinished with a few grades of wet and dry paper, and then a final buff with polywatch to give the crystal back its clarity. Back to the movement. It has been thoroughly cleaned and is ready for reassembly. Starting with the going barrel, we're going to put a new mainspring in, replace and oil the barrel arbor, close the barrel, ready to go in the movement. It will go along with the centre wheel, under the barrel bridge, and the rest of the going tray, third, fourth and escape wheels, under their bridge. The going train pivots are oiled on the back and front of the movement. Whilst we're on the dial side of the movement, we can install the keyless and motion works, starting with the crown, stem, winding gear and clutch, setting lever, yoke and yoke spring, cannon pinion, minute wheel and intermediate wheel, and finally the setting lever spring. Back to the back of the watch to install the winding works, but before that we put in the centre seconds pinion, then the crown wheel, click and the ratchet wheels. The next step is to install and oil the pallet forks. Once they are in, they are oiled from the other side. Then the balance assembly can be put in. With a little bit of wind the watch starts up. Time to clean and oil the capsules. Not a speck of dirt or old oil left, before being oiled and replaced. That process is repeated for the other capsule. You might have noticed it already, but the terminal curve of the hairspring is not moving correctly. This is because the pins have been bent together, pinching the hairspring. We need to correct this, otherwise the movement will not perform correctly, and moving the regulating arm could bend the hairspring. The balance is removed, the correction is made, then the balance is replaced to test to see if it was enough. Sorry for the poor quality camera footage. Hopefully you can just about see that the pins are slightly open now, giving the hairspring just enough room to move. With that sorted, we can reassemble the automatic works, and oil it once it's together, applying a bit of tension in the crown whilst doing so to engage the automatic works. We can then work towards getting the dial and hands back on, starting with the hour, calendar and intermediate wheels, then reassembling the cover plate. The date ring can be replaced, and the cover plate can be put back on. We can have a closer look at how the date jumper works. By pulling the crown out to the second position, and by pushing it back in, it advances the date by 1 day. Having tested the movement is functioning correctly, the dial can be put back on, followed by the hands. To get the watch back together, we have to put the Omega tension ringed crystal back in the case, remove the crown from the movement, and put the movement back in, and the movement ring. The gasket in the crown is then greased, and the crown put back in the movement, along with the case clamps. The last part of the movement to go in is the automatic rotor, then a new back gasket is greased, and the refinished case back is put on. The watch is looking a lot more presentable now, and regulated to an okay degree of timekeeping. To finish it off, I'm going to reuse the leather strap it came on, cleaning the leather thoroughly and polishing the buckle. There we go, a fully serviced and refinished Omega Geneve. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. If you would like your watch serviced, check out the link in the description for my website. Bye for now.